As architects, we grew up and were trained with the idea that form follows function, and there was a direct relationship between how the building looked and what it was intended to do. In addition to function, there is a relationship between form and energy. My first exposure to the idea of Passive House came through a New York Times article that was written in December of 2008. No furnace, but heat aplenty. I thought, a house without a furnace? That doesn't sound possible. There was an idea out there that you actually could create a building without a conventional heating system. That to me is a fundamentally different way of thinking about a building.
Up in the sky! Up in the sky!
We're still building very mediocre houses which are built based on the energy and environmental thinking of a quarter century ago. Because our lifestyle, our entire civilization at the moment is based not on manpower, not on animal power, but based on oil power.
We've been very cavalier about how we've used energy over the last several decades.
Excuse me, Mrs. Schwartz, could you tell us how you feel about oil heat?
Oil heat? Oh, well, I think oil heat is wonderful.
I wouldn't say that we've had the wool pulled over our eyes, we pull it over our own eyes. We either have to drastically change the way we build buildings, the physical buildings have to change, and the whole structure of our industry has to change, which is the harder part. And if that isn't done, the only alternative is to shoot the people who are living on top of the sand that our oil is underneath. So when you look at these options, there's a lot of reasons to do a lot of wool pulling.
The building itself is a kind of dynamic entity. You know, it's gaining energy and losing energy.
Everyone remembers a hot pot for a coffee carafe, and as long as the electricity is working, the heat is constantly moving into the coffee. The coffee is warm only as long as it stays on the hot pot. But today, what you find are not hot plates, but thermoses. And the coffee is kept warm, and its heat stays inside the carafe. There is no heat leaving the carafe. That is the sort of model that we think of as for houses today.
We live in interesting times, and we are going to make important changes in the way we live and the way we build houses, whether we want to or not. But the timeline is so short that, we're going to have a shock to the system one way or another. Choose your shock, Is it going to be a political shock, or is it going to simply be a disaster shock?
We need buildings that don't contribute to the problems that we face and can withstand the damage that we can no longer prevent.
What the 21st century architecture should be is not about style, but today we think that the main issue is energy.
Energy.
Strong communities.
Buildings.
Security.
Energy.
Buildings.
Conservation.
Durability. Reliability.
Passive way is always a way which needs the least amount of
energy.
Fewer moving parts, more responsive to the climate, to the sun.
Conservation.
You don't design the building and then say, oh, by the way, could you give me an energy rating on this building?